Almost gone now.
Someone looks tired. Her eyes
If I could be the fire in your fire, the spark in your eye, the answer to your prayer, and the faith that sets you free, and what you need. Stand in me, watching you, turning everything's around you, the lights down low, dancing slow, or falling down. Perfect's what you see, and what you
Not even close.
Look at Daddy.
I just want to welcome you to Mom's 90th birthday party. Doesn't she look amazing? So I know most of you know us, but my name is Bonnie, but I'm going to go John, Jean, Bonnie. We're by age. Kenny, Diane, Harvey, Jerry. Mom's in the middle, so it's off a little. Linda, Tom, Dave, Ray, Jim, Chuck, and Claire. So, Claire being the oldest, and Paul, of course, is not with us. But doesn't she look great? She still loves me. Well, anyone can do the numbers, Claire. Just the youngest. So I just want to start out the program by sharing a little bit about Mom's life. And we're going to have people, whoever wants to stand up and share any stories that they want to. We have a couple people, as you know, Mom is very musical, and she has, that talent has been picked up by a lot of the kids and grandkids. So there's a couple of them that are brave souls, and they're going to share their talent with us tonight. Kelly's going to sing, and then Matt is also going to sing. So...
Mia's gonna sing too.
I just want to make a note of all the centerpieces that we have here. The centerpieces have different themes, and you probably have gotten around to see them, but they truly share bits and pieces of Mom and Dad's life together and through the years. So Emily and Marilyn, we just want to so thankful for Ryan's Emily. I know there's two Emilys in our family. So thankful for them to put all their time and effort into the decorations. So Mom grew up in Dickinson, so she didn't live in Palmer all of her life. She grew up in Dickinson, and there's 6 in her family, 6 total brothers and sisters. She attended a small country school, and then she went to a Catholic school. And then she ended her years in a sister school where she stayed during the week. And I'm not sure how many of her brothers and sisters were there as well, but she stayed during the week and then would come home on weekends. And Mom's intentions while going to the sister school was actually to become a nun. And she told us that quite often. So, yeah. Many times. So, But you didn't become a nun. God's loss, I guess, but you were blessed in many ways. When Mom was 19, she moved out of her home and went to work at a hotel, and she was a maid. And that was probably like 1945, 46, something in there. But at that time, she got $10 an hour. Oh, no, I'm sorry. $10 a week. Plus room and board.
That's not bad.
So that's what she made. $10 a week plus room and board. So now I'm going to tell you about the romantic part. So when Mom was 19, she went to a dance with her girlfriends at a nightclub in Dickinson. And the Baghdad nightclub, I think it was called. And my dad, she caught my dad's eye. And that was just the end of it right there. And they wrote letters. The dad was in the service. He was in the Merchant Marines. And he was there on leave. And so they met for the first time, even though their families only lived 5 miles apart growing up. And Mom said that she knew of Dad. Dad said she knew of her family. But that was really the first time that they met. And Dad went back, because he was only on leave, he went back to the Marines, and they wrote letters back and forth, and back and forth. And isn't that romantic? And then he came back, he was all done, he came back, and shortly after that they got married. So in 1947, I'm reading ahead of myself. Nope, that's right. Okay, they got married in 1947. And their first home was actually a sod home. And I'm not really sure what that means, but that's what they told me. Mom and Dad told me that years ago. They lived in a sod home for 1 year. And after that, then they moved to Belfield in the home where they lived and raised their family for 20 years. And many of us have been back to see this home. Little 2-story home, very narrow stairs going upstairs. I go, maybe that explains it. Some of those kids may have fallen down those stairs. Anyway, she had, just keep going. She and Dad had 13 kids in that home, and that house did not have running water. And could you imagine women, especially moms, changing all those poopy diapers? No running water, cooking, cleaning. It's pretty amazing that she kept an orderly house, and she had a lot of help, but that was pretty amazing. So 1967, they moved to Plummer. And so 13 kids, I think Claire and maybe Chuck were out of the house then. So maybe 11 of them, all the cattle. Oh, my mom was just a farmer's wife. I mean, she dedicated her life to just raising her children. So she didn't work out of the home, but so they raised cattle, they farmed in North Dakota, came to Minnesota, and bought a farm. And I would imagine that when Mom walked into this house, she must have thought she walked into a little piece of heaven, because it was running water, big bathroom, bedrooms. It was a whole different house. So they started their life in Minnesota, and then they had 2 more children. I know Jean was a baby when we moved. I was 2. So then they had John, and then years later, Paul. A while back, we were putting together kind of a family history book, a fishery history book, and I had asked Mom and Dad a couple of questions. One of them that I asked Mom was, what is your deepest values? And her answer was, my faith in God, my family, and my grandchildren. She devoted herself to that. And another question I asked is, what were your favorite pastimes just through the years? What were your favorite pastime? And she said, and I don't think these answers would ever change, she said caring for her home and her family, playing organ, and then reading the Bible and praying. And that kind of sums up my mom. devoted to her family, having some type of an out, which she loved, music, and her faith. I just want to talk a little bit about those three things. Again, caring for her family. My mom has dedicated her life to her family. She gave up her dream of being a nun. She went complete extreme, and she raised 15 kids. She dedicated her life also to Paul, not only raising all of us, 14, but as you know, Paul was born when Mom was 50. I'm not going to share my age, but I'm pregnant right now. That's crazy. But she dedicated her life at that point, and I know she had lots of help because well, Paul was Down syndrome. He was born Down syndrome, had lots of medical problems, but she was fearless. My mom, I think that's another word, fearless. You just do it. And that's what we've watched all of her life. She just moves forward, gets it done. I think she could be on the Nike commercial. Just do it. She would be a great face because she did. And she never skipped a beat. And we watched her as she brought in this gift from heaven, which is Paul. Even though it was hard, like life is, there's struggles, but he was a true gift. And she dedicated her life. Her and Dad left their home when Paul was sick and in the hospital in Fargo, and they stayed there until his very end of life. Dedicated her life. And as you know, dedicated her life to Dad until the very end. She is a true servant, and served Dad. And as she served all of us until the very end. And I was just growing up, I can't imagine all that work, 24 hours a day, 3 meals a day, constantly moving, changing diapers. You know, she never was able to get up and say, let's go for dinner tonight, like we do. Never happened. She cooked 3 solid meals a day, always, with all of our help, of course. But she was organized. She kept us going. We knew what to do. We knew what to clean. And we knew what to do. But she had to have an out, and I think her out was her second pastime, which she's mentioned, which was playing organ. My mom loves music, and God gave her, how he gives us special talents, we all have them. Music is one of hers. And she shares it with everyone, and it is a true gift. My mom grew up around the pump organ, where she would, I imagine when she got stressed or got tired, she'd sit down, because she sat down many times at that organ and played. And sometimes she would get us to all gather around that organ and sing, which was a miracle. But she played not only at home, but she played in church. She played for the Plummer Church for years. Now, she doesn't play by notes, she plays by ear, just like the other. She's a very talented family who also does it in her brothers and sisters. But she played by ear, and it took so much courage to sit in the upstairs of that former church and play the organ. And church songs that she practiced and practiced and practiced at home. So that was an amazing thing, and she continues to share it. She played when she went to Red Lake Falls at Sunview. She played with Elaine and Ray. So they go to the nursing home. She continued to share this gift. She played for the old folks, she used to tell me. She's played for the church in Red Lake Falls where they have service, and now she plays still for the church service where she's at right now. And brings her keyboard out and plays for the residents there. So it's pretty amazing. So the third pastime, she said, was reading the Bible and praying. And we've all grown up seeing our mom reading the Bible. We've always prayed, around the table for every meal. She would, every Sunday, She prayed for each one of us, we know, hard and often. And she prayed for some of us more. You know who you are. Mom loves God and his son Jesus, and she instilled that faith into our family. And that is a true gift for our family. We celebrated Jesus' birthday every Christmas and his death every Easter. And we still do get together, and it's important for our family to celebrate. And then again, the gift of family, the gift of sharing your talents, and the gift of faith. Those three things are important to us as we continue to get together. And it's important to our family. And so, Mom, we just want to thank you for sharing those gifts and being our rock and our foundation of our family.
That I was going to share, and it's kind of weird that Bonnie said what she said. And I read out of this the things that God has given me. I think one of the reasons that I wrote these things down, I remember her always saying that I wish I could give you more things. But as I read these things, I can't imagine anything more. And I wrote values down, and I wrote a bunch of them. Respect and obedience and responsibility and humility and honesty, contentment, hard work, happiness, holiness, grace, all those things. But I highlighted a couple of them that I'll share with you, and I numbered them. Bonnie mentioned hard work. I don't know anybody that has worked any harder than her, and she always said, it doesn't matter what you do, whatever it is, work at it hard, do it well. Honesty, just having the respect for everybody to be truthful. That was important. Thirdly, I started happiness. Just the need to laugh once in a while. And we always watched a lot of serious shows. Dad watched a lot of cop shows and things like that. Gunsmoke, real serious stuff. But if Dad was gone, on would come some of the funnier shows. We watched All in the Family once in a while, and they had some really good episodes, and just other shows. She thought it was important to laugh once in a while too, and often, which was good. What do I have written down? Fourth, humility. Just not to boast about your accomplishments. Being able to say you're sorry was important. And if anybody was able to boast about something, about this room full of people, and anybody here, it would be her. I have a couple of them together. Obedience to the commandments in God and faith in God. And teaching us the importance of prayer is also written down there. It's like Bonnie and I talked before this. Pretty amazing. And I think that if she could teach us or say anything, that was what she tried to bestow upon us. I just happened to be reading in Proverbs 3:12. Just popped up, and I'm going to read it. And it says, "My son, do not forget my teachings, but keep my commands in your heart, for they will prolong your life many years and bring you prosperity." It's done well for her to do that. And I remember before we left, Ann said, "Did we get a gift for her?" And I was like, "Ooh, a gift. What do you get, Mom?" And I would say that what gift that I will try to give her is to take all of these things that she has taught us throughout life so graciously and pay it forward and try to give that to my family as well. That's what I have. But I do have a couple of happier stories. One thing that I remember most and that I cherish is that when me being the youngest one, eventually everybody left. So it was Paul and me and Mom, and one of the things that I would say that Mom did for me is she learned how to ride a bike. Which is kind of weird, but it was a really good pastime that I taught her how to ride bike again. I know she probably learned how to ride bike and had done it, but it had been many years. And I got her back on a bicycle. I even went as far as to teach her how to ride Chuck's moped, but Dad said, "I don't think so." She's pretty good at it though. Riding down the driveway, great summer after dinner, after supper, we called it. Riding bicycle was fantastic. And I even got her to fish a couple times. I think one of the pictures on the table, the Plumber Adventures, is her holding up a fish on the riverbank. Of course, she said, "Well, hold on, I got to do the dishes first." But the fish waited, apparently. So those were a couple of memories, and I'll cut it off there and let everybody else speak as well.
That one up so Ken, you're up. Okay. I'll follow up with John's bicycle story. That I left for college, and like Jenny said, it was Paul and himself and Mom and Dad, and things changed. I mean, things changed and they stay the same, but I noticed what changed when I went to school, and I got wrapped up in college and everything, and it felt good to be away right away, but then you start to remember, well, I really miss home. So I hadn't been home for probably 6 months, and I came home, and it was summertime, and I drove up. I didn't unannounced, because I never knew when I was coming home or never told anybody, but unannounced, and I parked the car, and I was sitting there just kind of looking at everything like, wow, it is really nice to be home, and Mom rode by on a bicycle. I don't know if she saw me or not, but I don't think she cared. She was like, oh, she goes by on a bicycle. I thought, well, no, that is different. Mom can ride a bicycle. And also I was home, and Kenny was home, and around the same time, and they were outside playing ball, and I was always, in the game, but for some reason I wasn't in this one. And I was watching them, and Kenny was pitching, and John was always, John was usually batting, that's just how it went. But there's a third person out there, and I was like, well, who's home? Who's home catching, and someone else is batting? And I was looking, and I looked a little bit closer. Dad was batting. It somehow gotten Joe to pick up a bat, and he hit a liner to left field. It looks like he knew what he was doing. So that's what I'm saying, that things change, but sometimes they're really, really good things. Seeing Mom riding a bike and Dad hitting a liner to left field was pretty cool. Even though I wasn't part of either, I was gone doing other things. Lastly, I think I'll entitle it Mom the Prophet. It was another time that I was home from school, and Mom couldn't get, and she was sewing something, and she never could get the thread through the needle. And so she always had me, I had really good eyesight, and she was like, Gene, come on over here, And she puts it to me, and I was getting up and walking away, and she said, hold on a second. And she said, sit back down. And so I sat back down, and she goes, you're going to need to know this. And she started showing me, you know, how to sew things straight together, how to do different patterns with the needle and thread. And she said, now try it. And I learned how to sew. And, you know, years later, I'm 48 years old. I have a 2.5-year-old, and a couple of stepdaughters, and Megan and Meadow. So Megan is 8. And of course, they're always tearing stuff up. And one day, for some reason, they called me, Megan, the 8-year-old, gave me the nickname of Jeannie Foo-Foo. Not sure where that came from. Then they shortened it up to just Foo-Foo. And she came up to me one day and she said, Foo-Foo, my stuffed animal is torn and stuff. What can we do with this? Can you buy me a new one? And I said, no, we just fixed this one. And she said, how do you fix that? And I said, I'll just sew it. And she just looked at me like I, told her I can, I've been to the moon. And so I went and got my sewing kit, and I sewed it up. I sewed it up. It took me like 5 minutes, and good as new. And she was like, wow, you can sew. Who taught you how to sew? And I said, my mom did. Grandma taught me how to sew. And she just was amazed by that. And I think it was 2 days later, she had then told her sister, and in my room on my bed there was socks, other stuffed animals, kites. I don't know what they wanted me to do with a kite, but they wanted me to sew everything. So that is my mom, the prophet story. She was right, I needed it, and I'm still using it today. So thank you for that, Mom. And we love you.
When we were, Richard Colquitz, I know that he's sitting out here somewhere. Yeah, he was we were building a shed over there, and he came in for dinner once. And we had mashed potatoes, gravy, and beef strips or something. That was it. And I just remember Richard, he ate 5 pounds of food. It was amazing. And he just finally leaned back and he said, Helen, that was probably the best meal I have ever had in my life. And I know that, people that came over, they would compliment Mom on how neat the house always was. And it always smelled of bread and ham and just great memories. But I'll skip forward, quite a ways to the year after Dad died. I stayed with Mom that year, and it was kind of probably, something that obviously I will never forget. And one of the stories was, so that spring, Dad died on March 20th, first day of spring, so it's time to plant the garden a little ways after. I was working in Grand Forks, and then I'd drive to Red Lake Falls and stay with Mom, and it was a fantastic time. And so it's time to plant the garden. And we get done planting it. I don't even remember what we planted. Onions and peppers, and then we realized we didn't have any cucumbers. We get back in, and we were kind of stewing over this for a little while. And it's dark now, and it's lightning and thundering. And I went to check if the door was closed that we had come through, and there were some cucumber plants sitting by the door. And so I go back and I get Mom. I said, "There's cucumber plants sitting over there. Let's get them in the ground." And so, a minute later, Mom and I are running outside, and she could actually still run, or at least walk pretty fast. And it's lightning and thundering, and we're whipping cucumber plants in the ground, and dodging lightning bolts. That's not extreme, but and that's just something that I'll always remember. We had a blast when we lived together, and spending time in Dad's recliner, and trying to stay up late to watch TV because she would say, I'd say, do you want me to shut the TV off and go to bed? No, I like that. I like hearing the TV. you know, and things still going on when I go to bed. Because, like John mentioned, Dad was up, you know, watching war movies and some fairly noisy stuff going on. Because I remember, because I'd be sleeping, and I'd always have these dreams about being at war and fighting, getting shot, blown up. It's because Dad would be out there with the TV blaring and these shells going on. I think, so the cucumbers, back to the cucumbers. So we have a bumper crop of cucumbers, and they're fantastic. And so we have the first cucumber salad of the season. And I go to Mom, I said, I could eat cucumbers every day. That entire summer, and I kid you not, cucumber salad in different varieties. It was cucumbers and cream, and cucumbers and coleslaw, and cucumbers. We had, it was a great summer. And so, going back to something that, just to round it out, something that was already mentioned, but, with all of us 15 clowns running around late at night on weekends, and Mom home praying, I have no doubt in my mind that we're still here, gathered with Mom because of those prayers. Yeah. Because we sometimes didn't use the best judgment in the world. We weren't driving top-of-the-line vehicles, and sometimes not in the best condition ourselves. And so, thank you, Mom, for those prayers.
I remember mostly North Dakota. I was so traumatized by the move that I don't remember much of Minnesota. But North Dakota I remember quite a lot. And Mother had other talents. Mom had other talents besides, and that we don't know about. She was a good driver. And we had kind of a similar like. We like to go to Pete's Cafe in Belfield, North Dakota, and have chocolate malts, and that was our weakness. So I think Chuck was in the car. It might have been like Raymond, but we'd get up, and you know how the hills in North Dakota, and the lanes were very narrow. So she'd get in the old Plymouth, and we'd climb in with her. And this is if Dad was out of town. And she'd drive us to Belfield on the back roads. There's a back way. You don't have to go out on the highway. There's a back way. And we'd go into Belfield, do our shopping, have our fun, and have chocolate malts at Pete's Cafe. And so she drove quite a lot for a couple summers. So she was getting close to her license, and I don't know why she never completed it, but she was a good driver. She kept, we always made it back home. That's the credit. That's all I know. And so, and another thing that she did to, like Bonnie and Penny and everybody has been talking about, she did every time there was a storm or a storm coming up, she had us all kneeling around the bed or around and praying for, or going downstairs, and she was a real inspiration to everyone, because later on, I'm not even the same religion anymore, but I learned one thing from Mom: the power of prayer. I don't care who you are or what you like to do, but when the time comes, if you know how to pray, you can take care of yourself and the people you love. So that's what Mom did, so that's it taught me faith in that. And so she's a great person. Yeah. Thank you, Mom.
Bill, if you want to stand, Katie. There we go. Jerome, where are you? And Jerome's wife, Darlene. We have Rosemary, Dad's sister, and let me see. Eugene, where's Eugene? Yeah. There's Eugene. And then Lorraine, of course, Dad's brother, Albert, and Lorraine, who live here in Plummer. Did I miss anyone from North Dakota? Or from...
Go up front so they can...
Oh, come on up, Katie. Come on up. Mom's sister, Katie. And you know how Mom looks amazing? Katie's 91. Is she amazing?
Well, I'm just so glad that the weather was nice so we could come for this 90th birthday. We weren't too sure about that, but looks like we made it. It was just a very nice group of people, and we're really enjoying ourselves.
Thank you.
I'm Claire's daughter. Nothing. When Bonnie asked if I would sing today, I was like, well, it sounds about right, you know. Yeah. And then I thought, well, she said Matt was singing, and I thought, well, can we maybe do something together? And she was like, no, you guys just Hot mic. I'm really loud. Oh, I was going to say, I may not even need this.
Oh, you may not.
Oh, it might. The song that I'm singing, it's called Alleluia. I'm sure many of you know it and have heard it. I've never sang it, but I've always loved the song, and I know that there's many versions out there, and people, you know, it's been sung a lot of meaning. It can be broken love and things like that, but I've changed some things around because I don't agree with that. To me, hallelujah is a song or a word that means praise and love and celebration, which is what we are here to do, is celebrate this beautiful woman over here, whom I haven't even had a chance to say happy birthday to because she's had a line of loved ones. She's quite the celebrity, but so. And John's gonna see my chicken scratch. It's literally on paper that has chickens on it. So no, right? It's literally on paper that has chickens on it. So I guess I can start. I don't know how loud it's gonna be, but I don't.
Hallelujah. not gonna sing. Just a real quick story about Mom and Dad. When they lived in Red Lake Falls, it was probably about, I suppose about a year before Dad passed away. And he had a little trouble seeing in those final years, you know. So I went to visit him one Saturday, and I walked in, and Mom had just colored her hair. And you know, she does her own color, so sometimes she gets a little too much red in there sometimes. but she asked me, she said, do you think I get too much red in my hair this time? And she did, but I didn't say anything. But Dad, of course, is sitting there and he pipes up and he says, yeah, she got way too much red and I really don't like red. And she kind of looks at him and she says, what do you know? You can't see it anyway. And she kind of caught herself and she was like, oh my God, did I just say that? And Dad looks, and I'm like, uh-oh, what's next? Pretty soon they both just burst out laughing at each other, and it was hilarious. But I kind of told you a little bit about their relationship.
And John.
Yeah, John Dan's getting in. Hey. Alright, I'm gonna be singing The Dance by Garth Brooks. Looking back on the memory of the dance we shared beneath the stars above, and for a moment all the world was right. How could I have known that you'd ever say goodbye? And now I'm glad I didn't know the way it all would end, the way it all would go. Our lives are better left to chance. We could have missed the pain, but I'd have had to miss the dance. And holding you, I held everything. For a moment, wasn't I the king? But if I'd only known how the king would fall, hey, who's to say? You know I might have changed it all. And now I'm glad I didn't know the way it all would end, the way it all would go. Our lives are better left to chance. We could have missed the pain, but I'd have had to miss the dance. 'Cause my life is better left to chance. We could have missed the pain, but I'd have had to miss the dance. I was 15 when my daddy's old man caught me halfway through my first beer. And he laughed so hard when my face turned green. He said, you come from a long line of sinners like me. go to see him sometimes, but he don't have much to say anymore. So we'll sit on his headstone with a fifth of Jack D. And here's to a long line of sinners like me. La-dee-da-dee-da, la-dee-da-da-dee-dee. I come from a long line of sinners like me. Well, Mama had a soft spot for a hell-raising boy, so she had two more just like him. And it takes an angel to raise a family that comes from a long line of sinners like me. Well, now maybe, who knows, one day I'll settle down and give my dad a grandson of his own. And when the doctor smacks him, he'll probably take a swing, 'cause he'll come from a long line of sinners like me. La-dee-da-dee-da, la-dee-da-da-dee-dee. I come from a long line of sinners like me. On the day I die, know where I'm gonna go. Me and Jesus got that part worked out. I'll wait at the gates till his face I see, and stand in a long line of sinners like me. I'll stand in a long line of sinners like me. La-dee-da-dee-da, la-dee-da-da-dee-dee. I come from a long line of sinners like me. La-dee-da-dee-da, la-dee-da-da-dee-dee. And here's to a long line of sinners like me.
Do one more thing. If all of Mom's grandchildren and great-grandchildren could just come up here.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Grandma. Happy birthday to you.
You know, and that's all a lot of companies. They started, no, they don't do that. So we're trading back in.
And so it's faster. But like at that point, like when it was time to do that, I couldn't feel anything. So I was like, I should get it out. Jake's like, push me. I don't know if I'm pushing her. Like, I don't know what is happening. You know, just took her out. Please just reach in there and get her. Seriously, I'm so done. This is exhausting.
Sorry. You can hear it.
I know.
down to the creek and open up the doors. There ain't nothing too special about me and Molly, that small town kid. We like fishing poles and cheap bush light, football games on a Friday night. Our roots are buried deep in this town. That's why we always seem to be sticking around. Monday morning's coming by real soon, so we might as well pass around the bottle of booze. Just some good old boys getting right tonight. Working on a buzz with a cold Bud Light. We're gonna crank it loud and play that song, the one that'll turn her on, so we can take a little ride in a 4x4 down to the creek and open up the doors. Ain't nothing too special about me and Molly, that small town kid. Whoa, whoa. Just a good old boy getting right tonight, sipping on Jack and tipping him back. Gonna play my guitar and play it just right, so we can have a little fun by the firelight. There ain't nothing too special about me and Molly, that small town kid. That small town kid.